Respected District 116 dignitaries, Division A leaders, club officers, Toastmasters, and dear friends, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm TM Prashant Krishnamurthy, your Sergeant at Arms for today's education model, Ignite Brilliance session number 3. It is my privilege to welcome each one of you to this remarkable learning experience where we come together to ignite our brilliance and elevate our skills as communicators and leaders. At Toastmasters, our mission guides everything we do. We build new clubs, support all clubs in achieving excellence. Please remember that our discussion and speeches steer clear of sex, religion, and politics in keeping with Toastmasters' commitment to a safe and inclusive space. To make this online session smooth and enjoyable for everyone, please rename yourself to, if you are taking a role, it will be like role and your hyphen and your name. Keep your microphones muted unless speaking, and put off all your noise making devices near you in silent mode. Cameras on when possible for better interaction. Stay in a quiet place with stable internet. The session is recorded. Please avoid personal screenshots. We are grateful for the presence of our District 116 leaders, Division A directors, area directors, club officers, role players, and enthusiastic members who joined us today to enrich the learning journey. Your support makes this session possible. Now that we are all settled in, let's get ready to learn, grow, and have a meaningful session together. It's my honor to hand over the proceedings to our enthusiastic Division A director. She joined Toastmasters to improve her public speak and network skills. Currently, Division A Director 25-26, immediate past area 15 Director 24-25, past President of ABBA Ladies Toastmasters Club in 23-24, served as part of District 116 Finance Team in 22-23. Awards in Toastmasters, Outstanding Club Award in 23-24, Outstanding President in 23-24, Triple Crown Award for 3 consecutive years, and she's a person who likes to learn new skills, a person who loves serving the community and have worked in many social cultural organizations. She have been awarded Appreciation Award for Community Services at the ICBF Day 2024. The award was presented by Honorable Ambassador of India to Qatar, Sri Vipulji. She has served as a medical coordinator and treasurer in Indian Community Benevolent Form ICBF under aegis of Embassy of India. Also served as president and treasurer of Maharashtra Mandal Qatar, and also have been a general secretary of Bharati Al Khor. A passionate crafter, enjoying designing and making jewelry. She loves designing and stitching dresses. With that, let's give a big virtual applause as we welcome our Division A Director, Nivedita Ketkar. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prashant, for the warm introduction and an elaborate introduction. Thank you so much. Let me acknowledge the presence of our trainer today, DTM Suresh Kumar Kalathil, also the area directors, club leaders, and all my fellow Toastmaster members. I welcome you all to the third session of Ignite Brilliance educational series. And with a great sense of pride, I declare this meeting open. Now we at Division A, we always strive to bring the best trainings for our members. And we want our members to achieve their learning goals. This year, some of you may have attended the sessions. We started the Division A TLI sessions with the trainings on Club Success Plan, Moments of Truth. Then in the second session, we understood the moves to organize quality club meetings. And now we all are awaiting our contest season. And as the contest season is approaching, our TLI chair has brought a timely training for our members as the session 3. So a round of applause for our TLI chair, TM Namrata Taude. Today, from our TLI chair, we have a workshop to learn about the craft and delivery of international speech. International speech is that category which can take us not only just to the district stage, but even to the international stage. You never know, someone from today's audience could be seen at the DTAC stage or even at the World Championship of Public Speaking stage. So let's all learn together and grow and improve our public speaking and speech skills. And to guide our members in this craft, we are very lucky today to have a trainer who himself is a champion speaker. Now, I would like to hand over today's session to our vibrant Master of Ceremonies, Toastmaster Lali. She will take the meeting ahead. So let me introduce her. Toastmaster Lali is a Toastmaster since 2018. She started her Toastmasters journey with Pearl Toastmasters Club and is the founder president of Neshi's Pearl Toastmasters Club. She is currently serving us as the Division A Pathways Manager. She is an educator and academic coordinator at Pearl School. She lives by the empowering quote, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start all over again. Her Toastmasters journey is among her most treasured experiences, one that continues to inspire her to grow, to lead, and empower others. So with a virtual round of applause, let's join me to welcome Toastmaster Lali Neshikumar. Toastmaster Lali, the virtual stage is yours.
Okay. Thank you so much, Division A Director, Toastmaster Nivedita Ketkar, for that inspiring start to the evening. A warm welcome to everyone joining us for Ignite Brilliance Educational Session 3, the third in our ongoing series of Division A learning workshops designed to empower, engage, and elevate speakers across the district. It is wonderful to have with us our Division A Director Nivedita Ketkar, TLI Chair DTM Namrata, Division A Exco members, our area directors, fellow Toastmasters, and guests from across the district. Your presence truly adds energy and spirit to this learning space. I'm Toastmaster Laili Nishikumar, and I'm delighted to guide you through this evening's session. One that promises to deepen our understanding of what makes an international speech truly stand out. A special word of appreciation to our organizers and the entire Division A team for putting together yet another enriching session. So, as we all know, timing is the heartbeat of every Toastmasters meeting. It ensures discipline, fairness, and helps speakers master the art of concise communication. So, let's welcome Toastmaster Unais, our timer for today's session, to share the timing guidelines. Over to you, Toastmaster Unais.
Good evening, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests. I am Toastmaster Unais Irinjagundamel, is timer for Division A Ignite Brilliance Education Session number 3. Time management is one of the important aspects of any Toastmasters meeting. My role as a timer is to help every speaker express their thought within the allotted time, ensuring that the meeting runs smoothly and scheduled. Today's timeline for education module workshop, the total timing is 35 minutes and 30 minutes. I will show you green color. Wait. So, and 32 means I will show you yellow, and 35 means I will show you red. In the question answer session, the total time is 10 minutes. At 8 minutes, I will show you the green, and 9 minutes I'll show you the yellow, and 10 minutes I'll show you red color. Over to you, MC.
Thank you, Toastmaster Unis, for the timing guidelines. So before we proceed with the session, I request everyone to share your queries and comments in the chat window of DTM Leena Naya. So these queries will be addressed during the question and answer segment following the education session. Tonight, we are not just talking about speeches, we are exploring the craft, the emotion, and the delivery that can turn a few minutes on stage into a lasting memory. And who better guides us through this journey than someone who has lived and mastered it? Our workshop presenter this evening is a distinguished Toastmaster and an accomplished professional with a wealth of experience both in his career and within Toastmasters. A mechanical engineer from Andhra University, he currently serves as the country operations manager for KBR Services LLC, a Toastmaster since 2002. He has served in several leadership roles, including secretary, vice president education, president, area governor, and assistant division governor for marketing. He also took charge as the contest operations manager for the prestigious Saudi Arabian Toastmasters annual conference. He earned his distinguished Toastmaster title in 2009, a a testament to his dedication and excellence in communication and leadership. So, beyond his leadership journey, he is an accomplished speaker, dynamic workshop presenter, and an active blogger. He has sponsored 4 clubs, mentored 2, and continues to inspire many through his commitment to the Toastmasters mission. He is also a 4-time finalist in the International Speech Contest in District 7-9 and the second place winner at the district level table topic contest in 2018. So please join me in welcoming a seasoned leader, a passionate communicator, and a true example of the Toastmaster spirit. Distinguished Toastmaster Suresh Kumar Kalathil for the workshop on international speech, craft, and delivery. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Leena Lali, the Master of Ceremonies, for the very exalting introduction. And I hope I live up to your expectations and the expectations of the audience today. And I'm also happy to see that we have very good participation. And I thank all of you who have taken time out on a weekday to come out and be with me and kind of repose the confidence that I will deliver a workshop that is to your expectations. I also see in the audience that Toastmaster Manjusha Kale, who is a champion speaker herself, and we shared the stage on 2022, 23, I think, on the international speech at the division level. So I'm glad that she's been a winner. She's this, and when I was participating in the contest, she's here to kind of, that speaks of her humility to come and listen to me and try to learn from me. The fact remains that it's not about winning contests; it's about your experience in handling Toastmasters speeches and the international speech contest. So I would like to actually, before I start the presentation, I would like to make a kind of a disclaimer that there is no perfect way to craft a speech, and there's no fixed formula. There's no fixed, how do you actually this sure winning formula or anything like that. I don't claim to have to give you something that which will make you all champions, and who knows, somebody may get benefited from some of my experiences and end up to become a world champion. We'll be very happy to do that. And sometimes it's like you get ideas from all corners. Like they say, noble thoughts come from all corners, and sometimes these can become inspirational and effective to make you develop yourself as a speaker and as a winner in many contests to come. So with that, let me actually share my screen and enter into the presentation because we have very limited time. Okay. I actually changed the title a little bit, saying Mastering the International Speech, Crafting to Delivery. The idea is actually to look at the nuances on which the international speech has to be built upon. It's international speech contest is not something that, it's not like a workshop where we have an hour, like the MC just said that, you've got just 7 minutes. And in 7 minutes, you need to show or let the audience know exactly what you're trying to say. And it has to be precise, concise, emotive, and all that you want to convey within the 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So it's crucial that you actually plan what you want to say. You can't afford to speak a word or a sentence extra than what is required. And every word or a sentence that you speak in a contest should be adding or complementing and enhancing the speech. So I would actually say that crafting the speech is as important or as the delivery, because if the speech is not crafted well, then no matter how good your delivery is, it cannot be effective, right? Do you agree to that? Okay. So as we discussed, please keep your questions ready, and I'm more than happy to actually answer them as we go through the presentation. So I believe that I will not be having any scope to ask questions during the presentation. So I will continue with my presentation, right? So what is the purpose and objective for any speech? Any speech, there should be you should have a purpose and objective. It could be to inspire, it could be to persuade, it could be a motivational speech, it could be speaking to inform or anything. But essentially, you have to have a purpose for the speech. In this case, usually in international speech contest, your purpose is usually to the idea is to leave a motivational or an inspirational message. And in order to do that, you must actually have what you want to achieve by the speech. You want them to imbibe certain things that you want to tell them, or you want to share an experience and inspire them to do something or persuade them or whatever. You need to first of all define your purpose. Yes, the purpose is to win the trophy, but that's the general purpose, but not a specific purpose. The specific purpose is about the speech. So it's important that first of all, you should know your audience and craft your speech based on craft your purpose, or define your purpose based on what you want to convey to the audience. Okay, you would not want to speak on a specialized subject. For example, if you're a finance professional, speak about how to read a balance sheet or how your experience in reading a balance sheet or stuff. Or if you're an engineer, if I talk, somebody may understand. Some of you may understand. If I talk about heat transfer technology to a general audience, it makes no sense, right? So it has to have a proper objective, define a purpose of your speech, and understand how the speech has to be, how you want the speech to be effectively communicated from your mind to the minds and hearts of our audience. So have a theme, have a central idea which we should carry through the speech from the beginning to end. I'm not saying that the central idea should be revealed in the beginning itself, but you should have a strategy of how you want to bring the central idea out to the audience's mind. So you must begin with the end in mind, right? You must begin with what you want to achieve by end of the speech, or where you want to take your audience to by the end of the speech, and how much you want the audience to understand and imbibe and assimilate and absorb what you say from the first word to the last word. And that's why I say we have to have a clear purpose to begin with the end in mind. Yeah. So with that, we usually use storytelling techniques. Storytelling as a medium to convey to the audience. Why storytelling? Because stories are something which everybody enjoys, right? Everybody's story is something which connects to the audience. It connects because human beings are emotional people. Because emotion is something it's the emotion that we have, and our ability to communicate the emotion and express the emotion is actually distinguishes us from other creatures of the world. And story is one way of expressing emotions very effectively. That's why even today in a corporate training also, they employ the storytelling techniques as a way of communicating the abstract theories also. They kind of weave it into a story and give them in capsules so that the audience can retain and understand and kind of retain what they say. It makes a quick attention and it makes very quick connection to the heart, because it can connect to the heart to the audience. If you see the screen, this on top is like, I'm sure all of you have experienced, all of us are elders and parents. So in fact, this is one experience that actually helped me realize that I have some skills or interest in becoming, even before I became a Toastmaster. I used to have both my kids sleep beside me, and then I used to read stories out to them. And then, I used to tell them in a very animated fashion that, then the tiger came slowly. It walked slowly and hid behind the bush, waiting patiently. And then when somebody came, it jumped at the audience. Like, yeah, I used to make it. And then my kids used to scream. So I said, that's something which we need to use. That's how I started in my interest in storytelling. And, that's how I started actually becoming interested in speaking, public speaking and stuff. So all of us know these school days where we sit down and, we read books and with each other and we laugh at the jokes together, and how stories have been connecting us, and the stories that grandmothers told us in the olden days. And nowadays people are in Nintendos and computers and televisions and stuff. But nowadays, in my times, grandmothers used to sit all the grandchildren around and tell stories, and those were actually memorable moments. And some of those stories we carry till the end of our lives, right? Because stories have been so effectively said all through the generations. So storytelling, by and large, is one of the most effective ways of conveying your ideas, your emotions, your thoughts, and help people to influence and transform their thinking, to bring them to the way you think, and leave a message that will actually help them to be motivated or inspired. Storytelling is the most powerful way to put ideas into the world today, said Robert McAfee. So this is what I believe firmly as well. Storytelling is the most powerful way. In fact, I was so happy about this, I love this subject so much that I even used to deliver workshops on storytelling, which I've done in the Doha Toastmasters Club as well. It's something which is very, very interesting. And if you run your thoughts into this and delve deeper into this, you'll see that how complex and how difficult it is if you have to be a really, really good storyteller. I'll try to bring some of those elements into this presentation as well, so that, it will help you to kind of reaffirm my ideas of how to deliver a speech in the delivery part of it. So storytelling is the most powerful way. And this is why I'm sure all of you have seen all the district or district or international champions. They all have a compelling story to say. They all have a story which is actually moving story. And if you notice, all of them have a piece of themselves in the story. This is where, because you can speak with conviction, and we can speak with more ease and confidence when it comes to speaking from your experience. Now, I would like to go into the elements of a story, of how a story should be, before I actually go into the crafting of the speech. So I call it 5 C's: character, context, conflict, climax, and closing. In every story, there is a character. You can call the character the central character, the protagonist, or whatever you want to call it. But there is a central character who's there from the beginning to the end of the story. In my cases, whenever I make a speech in the context, especially, the character is me. I always try to make myself a central character and weave my sisters, my parents, my whatever the story I'm going to tell about as the characters. And then you slightly you have to create a context into what the character is, what context the character is going to speak about. And then you bring a conflict that is actually a compelling reason, or a problem, or a dilemma, or an issue that the character is going to face. And then you kind of, go deeper into the conflict, and explain the conflict, and then explain the dilemmas, so that the audience is kind of entrenched with the dilemma. And then when you bring it to the climax, when you slowly go to the resolution of the context, and you at the climax, you kind of resolve the contest, conflict, and then you close the speech with some inspiring words where the audience feels that the story is resolved, the story is inspirational, the message comes across, and the message is retained. So 5 C's that form a very important part are the main elements of a good story. Again, character, context, conflict, climax, and closing. These are the 5 C's which form an element of every story that you're going to say or write or speak. But in the context of international speech contest, there are certain limitations that you can have. You cannot have too many characters and stuff. I will talk to you about those elements or those nuances in my ensuing slides. Now, you have to, storytelling is something, the technique you use is you have to create the mood. In order to create the mood, you have to paint a picture. Even if you say like, very simply, you can just make a statement and the message comes across. But when you paint the picture, when like you say, if you want to just say, like one of my speeches, I said, what do you do when your dreams go up in smoke and your hopes come crashing down like a pack of cards? So it's a picture that I'm trying to paint. One speech I said, I lived in a small little house which was nested between the green mountains on one side and the blue seas on the other. Green and blue, and and then I'd say a short walk from my home would take me to the bus stop, and I walk across the stage and create the bus stop there. And the bus stop, this is how we create the picture, create the mood, slowly bring the characteristics and create the mood, because these pictures bring the mood, and then make the characters dynamic. You have one character which is yourself or whichever central character, and then the characters become dynamic as you go. And then the other characters come in. Some characters may come in and for one moment and go, and then you introduce another character. But in a speech, it's better to keep it to few characters. Don't, because in 7 minutes when you introduce too many characters, before the audience could actually understand the characteristics of the character, time is gone. So you would want to keep it actually to a minimum, and then you keep yourself or the main character as a static character, and have dynamic characteristics, other characters dynamic. Okay. Now, stories essentially it will always have some emotion, because, and you need to play on the emotions of the audience. That's one of the techniques that you need to employ to actually win the hearts of the judges and the audience. Okay. So you have to use the emotions in the right way, in the right method, in the right measure, and in order to actually keep the audience. If you speak too much emotion also is not good. So you have to keep it very careful to bring the emotions correctly, and the emotions should be nuanced in words, in expression, in gestures, in voice, and everything else. Okay. And finally, it is the conflict resolution. And with the conflict resolution, people say call to action. It's whatever you want to say, call to action or closure of the speech, and that's how the resolution is made, and the speech ends with that. Now, there are 8 core elements, in my humble opinion, which constitute a winning speech or a good speech. 8 basic elements which you need to focus upon, because usually you just write a speech using your ideas, but when I'm trying to split it up into major elements, so that you understand, but keep in mind that these elements have to be actually necessarily addressed in your speech in order to make it more effective. One of them is engage first and then motivate. Don't try to start motivating before you actually engage. Engage your audience. Get them to eat out of your palm. Get them to understand where you come from. Give it, because not all the members sitting in the contest know you, because it's not your club. You might be at the division level or district level or maybe international level. So you cannot try to motivate them saying that I know better than you. That gives a complete negative picture of you, and they will not be motivated at all. It can be a put off. So what you need to do is engage them first and slowly bring in all the elements, and then you try to bring them to a level of motivation. Motivation should come by the end of the speech. So don't try to motivate them. Don't try to give any motivational words or meaning to your speech before you come to the end. So engage first and then motivate. Emotion is the fast lane to the brain, like I said before. So emotion is required. Emotion has to be made has to be nuanced. Emotion has to be, for emotion, culture has an effect on the emotion as well. So you have to be sensitive to the culture, and what the emotion that you're using should be universal and be acceptable to all cultures the world across. Very important. So if you use some emotions or some context which is only regional and only to certain communities, and others won't understand. So those emotions will sometimes give them confusion, and they'll be in a state of being nonplussed and not knowing whether they should laugh or not laugh, or think or not think. That's very important. So emotion there is a lot of thought to be going into emotion. Use stories and metaphors to frame your content. Like I said, it's very important to use stories and metaphors to frame your content. In one speech I said, his dreams and his desires were reduced to ashes. It's a metaphor. Dreams can't be burned, and desires can't be burned and made ashes, right? It's a metaphor. So you always have to think about how you can write. I'll talk about it while starting the speech. These things you have to weave some metaphors and similes and triads and alliteration, whatever you want, all the figures of speech to kind of strengthen and embellish your thoughts onto the speech, right? Now, like I said, brand your message by weaving a theme. The central theme has to be there's like a thread of a pearl. No matter how beautiful the pearls are, if they're not strung together with a nice little thread that goes to the center, then the beauty of the pearls cannot be seen by the audience, right? So you have several thoughts, good words, good feelings, good everything. But if the theme is lacking, and the central thread that is actually holding all these beautiful ideas together is lacking, then the story will not come across well. So it's very important to brand your message around the theme, weaving it. That's why I use the word weaving the theme weaving your speech around the theme. The word is weaving. It's like wrapping it slowly and weaving it up. That's how I meant. That's why I thought. Now, design your speech yourself. It's very important because sometimes you have very good mentors, but mentors' ideas and thoughts and actions and words is not something that you can deliver yourself. So please think about it. It has to be designed by yourself. You can ask whether mentors can give you suggestions and stuff, but essentially the speech has to be designed by yourself, because you know what you can speak and how well you can speak. And if you add some ideas and thoughts and words by the mentor, sometimes it does not come across with sincerity, or you may not be able to deliver it the way that the mentor to envisage, and therefore it could be disaster for your speech. I'll talk about that later again in the context of on the presentation. Now, there are sometimes people go from one problem to the other problem to the other problem, and it goes wider and wider and wider. So that's not a good idea, because then it leaves the audience trying to catch up with before the first idea is sunk in and assimilated. You go to the next idea, that's going wider, and that's not helping. So to grip your audience, you need to go deeper and not wider. Just use one context or one challenge or one situation, and go deeper into that, deeper and deeper and deeper, before you actually resolve it instead of going wider. So I hope I'm able to come across my ideas coming across to you. It's not about speaking. It's not about repeating or creating a problem and kind of explaining the problem more and more and going wider, but going deeper into the problem, try to engage the audience by bringing more depth and context into what you're saying as part of your story, right? And you have to appeal to higher aspirations and convictions of the audience. The story it should be able to appeal. It should be able to move the audience into doing something, understanding something, and feeling for something which is higher, which is not really making them feel low or go down, or it's appealing to the higher aspiration, to help them become better human beings, to help them make a better community, you help them to bring up a child better, make a better family, like that, towards higher aspirations of the and moral convictions of the audience. These are the 8 core elements, 7 core elements. The 8th one is close with the message of hope. Always don't leave them with the message of despair or thing, but then leave a message of hope. Essentially, the message, the main theme should be, I'm not talking about the closing, the message, it should be of hope, right? What is an uplifting story? It's like, we know, overcoming adversity, it helps you, because when you say there was an adversity, because everybody has faced adversities in their lives, and adversities is something which is part of everybody's life. So overcoming the adversities and bringing out those challenges, and how you actually worked around it and brought yourself back to to success, is something which leaves people very hopeful, and that's a good idea of starting a speech. Emphasize human values. Your speeches should be emphasizing the good human values. That's very important. It has to be uplifting. It has to be it can't be negative in the sense. It has to be something that appeals to everybody universally, because Toastmasters is an international organization, and it is not about one community or one nation or one society. So you have to be speaking on human values, which are general, fundamental, and universal. It's very good to be funny. It's something which I'm still trying to learn. It's good to be funny. You must have perfect timing to be able to generate humor, and at the same time, you should be able to get people to laugh, because the way you deliver it, the timing is very important. It's good, very good to be funny, because funny stories are always retained. I said emotion, but not too emotion. When you speak about emotion, when you speak about your story has got too many very, very down, and people take people down, and you say so many deaths and destruction and poverty and this and that. You go in too much emotion, like it can be a put off, and then people may start, oh my God, this is too much for me, and then you start start looking at their WhatsApp or going even going astray in the thought process. See, you can play with these things when you have a 1 minute, 1 hour workshop. You can crack anecdotes, even a couple of anecdotes don't actually appeal. It's fine, because you can come with the next one and slowly get it involved. But in a 7-minute speech, you have no time. So you have to craft it in a way that it has to have emotion, but it has to be appealing. Emotion is not too much of a thing. You talked about, we sometimes talk about people dying and stuff. So it can be, but not too much. That's what I'm saying. So now I'm coming slowly to the crafting of the speech. You can have a slam dunk opening. Slam dunk opening is like, those who play basketball will understand what I'm saying. It's like a sure shot. It's like the sure basket, directly into the basket the ball goes. You can ask me a question. You can ask them, who do you think is the best? You can ask any question. Who do you think would be a better parent, the father or the mother? You can ask them. Then there'll be a biased views. No, men will say men and women will say women. So this is like to engage them. You can share a story. You can tell a fact, like I said, what do you do when your dreams go up in smoke and your hopes come crashing down like a pack of cards? Give up or stand up and face your adversary and say, I am down, but not out. That's a fact of telling a story, small story, like I said in one speech which was delivered last time in my international speech in the division as well. I said, it is one of those routine calls to my mom. Not that I had anything of importance to convey, but the telephone line had transformed into an umbilical cord between my mom and me. See the story. The first sentence itself is, and then I said, Mr. Toast, Mr. Congress Chairman. So there's a story in the opening. You can use any of this. There's no fixed formula. Tell facts, tell story. You can just say, doctors are approximately 9,000 times more dangerous than gun owners. It's a very controversial statement, but it's an intriguing one. It will keep the audience attention, right? Or use a quote: when you're going through hell, keep going, said Winston Churchill. So any of these methods you can do, but make sure the opening is connected to your speech, connected to your message, and actually get the audience to hook into your message directly. Okay. So these are the this is what I call slam dunk openings, the sure shot openings, which will keep the audience to listen, to wait, to kind of be impatient to listen to what you're going to say next. Now, the plot line, you should have a plan and set some clear objectives for the outcome. What do you want to achieve by this speech? That's what I said, when you want to begin with the end in mind. And set some objectives and outcomes. What do you want the audience to do? You want the audience to understand you better. You want your audience to do something or take a positive message to kind of implement in their lives, for improvement of their life, to help them to build something which, from your experience in their societies, or take some message home which help him to actually become a better father, a better parent, or better son, or whatever. So have a clear plan on the objectives. And when you make a speech, this is how the graph. Being an engineer, this is what we look at. We look at the graph. How the speech the transition of the speech from open to beginning to end. It's like the introduction. In the introduction, we bring through the character, setting, and conflict, and slowly we build up, going up. You development of character, development of characters and conflict and suspense, and then you climax, and then you bring it down with following action, resolution of the conflict. I hope this is how the speech should be crafted. So that you build up, bringing the emotions and the excitement to the top, and finally the conflict is resolved, and there's a resolution of the conflict. This is how the story's plot line is actually plotted in terms of how it's progress as a graph. Now, suspense. I was driving to work, right? And then raise the stakes. I had to work. I was late for the third time this week, and I was at risk of losing my job. I had a presentation to make. My boss was also attending, and I'm really getting late, and I was really rushing. I was driving faster than I should. I was keeping my eyes on the road cameras, and trying to drive as fast as I could, so that I didn't want to actually lose my job. And then I see that there's a danger signal coming out of on my dashboard, and it was intense fog. I was feeling that my tire is also not in good shape. This way, just increase the stakes and go up, and then add the unknown, like the light coming on the car. It starts making a strange noise. Stopping the car is risky because there's a fog, and all these things. And then slowly you bring your conflict, resolve the conflict. This is how the speech should be actually crafted in such a way that we reach at the end. You break the suspense, and you kind of make everybody feel good and feel motivated, feel inspired to kind of accept your ideas and emotions that you wanted to convey. I hope till now you're in line or aligned with what I'm saying. Just give a thumbs up, Ken. Great, thanks. Now I'm coming to the crafting of the speech. It is the emotions of the speech. Your words should convey the emotions that you want to say. This is something which I really love, because I like to play with words. My mentor used to say, distinguished Toastmaster PGR Nair, he used to say, the words you use are the clothes that you package your emotions and thoughts. So no matter how good your thought is, or no matter how good your idea is, if the words that show or that actually demonstrate or cloth, it's like the textile or the garment or the dress that you wear is not appealing, then no matter what you are, it will not show. The entire inside of the story will not show unless you craft it well with the right words. And the right emotions come with the right words. So that's why I said your similes, metaphors, and all these things are very important. Get your audience to see your speech. They should be able to visualize the speech. Use imagery. Like in one speech I said, our lives were filled with simple joys. Like when my dad bought a box of custard apples, I would twirl each bite in my mouth before I actually chewed it, to savor the taste as long as I could. It's like creating imagery. Like I said, it's like making them feel and see your speech rather than just listen to it. Like I said, I walk a quick walk from my home would take me to the bus stop, and I walk across and show the bus stop there, so they can see green mountains, blue seas. These kind of words you use to make them understand where you're coming from, and what to create the scene, paint the picture. Sensory language. The characters are stars, so let the stars speak, and the words you used for the stars to speak, the 3-4 stars cannot come and speak. So you use the words and the language, body language, and etc. to kind of bring out the characters, and so the characters speak the language, and because they are stars, and those should shine like stars by the words that you craft for them. Use examples, similes, metaphors to make intangibles concepts tangible. Like you use, like one of my speeches, I said, my father, who was one of the most respected persons in the society, stood vulnerable, victimized, and vanquished in the public eye. So that's a triad: vulnerable, victimized, and vanquished. So this is kind of similes and metaphors you craft into the speech to actually give them, make your words more effective, more stronger. So that's what similes and metaphors are very important. Use short and plain English language. It's very important, because English language, you're not here to show your prowess as an English language expert. So don't use jargon unnecessarily and confuse the audience. Use simple language and deliver it with confidence, and let them know where you come from. Don't try to kind of put on an accent or try to speak like Americans, or it is not required. It's you need to bring a piece of you to the audience, but at the same time, the English that you speak should be able to understand by the Arabs, by the Filipinos, by the Americans, by the British, or by Arabs or anybody else. It has to be universal. So try to get out of your thing that you speak like an American or British guy. Speak in your own accent, but then speak clearly and audibly, so that the words intonation should be clear, so that the audience, everybody in the audience can understand exactly what you use. Use short, simple sentences and not unnecessary long sentences. And sometimes when you craft it on a long sentence and a big idea, sometimes you will tend to forget it. You will not deliver it with the punch that it requires. Or if it is a borrowed phrase or a statement from somewhere you said or read or somebody gave you, then sometimes you might forget it. So there are risks of these things. So use short, simple sentences, but sentences with depth, with words which are deep, with words or few words that can actually add and embellish the thoughts, emotions, and the value to your words that you're speaking. Don't try to put too much content. It should be done with such a way that it should be, because people like me, who I generally tend to speak a little fast in my normal times, but on the stage I'm very conscious. I try to scale it down. So don't put too much content, and keep the words to you can check on how many words you can speak in a minute. So usually it's like around, for me, I don't go beyond 700, 750 words. So make sure that it is not too much of content, because people lose the interest, and the essence of the speech gets lost. Now, review on a regular basis. I'm sure Madam Manjusha will agree with me that by the time we go to the district or division, for me at least, it will be the 12th or 15th revision. So you have to review on a regular basis, and then, because your ideas keep changing, and what you do every time, it changes all the time. So when you review it regularly, and then you add it becomes polished. It's like taking a vessel and cleaning it every day and polishing it every day, and then slowly it becomes a masterpiece. That's how you should look at it. Don't approach the speech contest. Those of you who want to participate, start it now. You're already late. In fact, for me, I don't have the steam that I used to have before, but I used to start off 6 months before. 6 months before I know I'm going to participate in that speech contest, and I'm doing it. By the time I come to the club, it's already 6th or 5th revision, and that's how it should be. You have to be. There's no great achievements can be possible without passion and alacrity. Take it from me. If you want to be a good speaker or a good leader, it doesn't come easy, because this is hard work to be done. Okay, I'm kind of transgressing to the point, but just because I wanted to say review on the regular basis. It is the connection between I and you, what I want to say and what you want to get. It is we. These moments are powerful. So these moments, you have to pause and deliver it very carefully and craft the words and ideas to embellish or to kind of, complement the emotions of the speech. So that's why I said I'm stressing so much on words, because craft is so important. That's why I said review it regularly and look at it, how you can change one syllable, how this word is going to sound. Is there some other word that I can make it to convey the meaning better, make a small sentence, or is there something I can add, like make a triad or bring 2-3 sentences, merge it into one? These are the review that you need to do always, and that's what will make the speech more effective. Now, the 4 P's. Because no matter what you craft in the delivery, it's the vocal variety that actually makes a difference. Power, the volume, So it's like, if you those of you know, have some idea about music, you'll know it's a starting scale. It's called a scale. It's called Shruti in South India. It's the scale on which you start the song. If you start the song at a higher scale, then you have to go, your high notes will go very high and the low notes will go not low enough. So it's very important to start at the right pace, right pitch. So like I just said, what do you do if your dreams go up in smoke and your hopes come crashing down like a pack of cards? If I say, what do you do? So it puts you up. Then all my speech will be high volume from beginning to end. So the starting point and where you have to increase your volume or where you have to decrease your volume is depending on the emotion of the speech. So the starting point of the starting note on which you start the speech, I'm using the word note because though it's not a song or a presentation, but the starting or the level on the volume on which you start is very important. It should not be jarring to the ears. It should be pleasant to hear. At the same time, it should be able to, when you go down low, it should be able to understand what you're saying. And when you go up, they should not lose you either. So pitch, frequency. That's what I said. Pitch. It should be the frequency at which your speech comes is the pitch. So the pitch should be, the starting pitch should be very clear, and then you should work on the pitch going up and down in where the speech is going. And you have to change the pace rate depending on the sense of it. Suppose you say, like I was saying when I was speaking one of my speeches, I was talking about a fire in the plant, and said, and there was a fire, and all of us were running. We took the fire hoses and ran towards the fire, trying to shoot at the base of the fire, and like you bring a sense of urgency by speaking faster during the thing. And then when you say, and finally the fire was extinguished, so then you bring it down. So pace of the speech generates when you're there, when you want to convey urgency, anxiety, distress, you use pace. Use faster pace. And when you speak about happiness or joy, you bring the volume down, you bring the pitch slow, the pace down, and you bring the pitch also down. This is how you effectively bring the words across to the audience. Pauses. Pauses are magical. But, my mentor used to say pregnant pauses. Pregnant pauses means because meaningful pauses. Pauses are necessary. But pauses, you have to very thoughtfully craft where you have to pause, because the pause has to be necessary, pause has to be appropriate, pause has to be for the right time, right duration, which means length, and the pause has to be purposeful. So if you lose any of these, the pauses become meaningless and it can be a distraction. There are certain like I had one of my friend, he's no more, poor DTM Jackson. He got to overcome it in the period of time, but he used to cut the sentences the wrong way. Like, yesterday evening I went to the market, so between thee and the market, there's a gap. That gap, the audience will start thinking, what is he trying to say? And then in that the sentence becomes ineffective and you lose the audience. So pauses have to be purposeful, meaningful, and for the right. Too long a pause also will help you lose. And the pause, if you don't pause appropriately for the duration that it requires, the effect of the pause is lost. So while the pauses are necessary, the pause has to be imaginative. You have to imagine where you need it, how you want to have the pause, and how long you want to pause. So It sounds complicated, but these are all what is required, because many don't think about all this when you deliver a speech. And if you want to make your speech effective, these are things you need to look upon in delivery. It's like a beautiful choreographed dance or a symphony. The music and the sound and the actions and the volume and the pitch and the power and your expressions and body language, everything has to come in sync. That's when it becomes effective, right? So in judging form, there is flexibility and volume. They look at it, how you speak, how you say. So this is something which you need to look at very carefully. You know, what judges are looking for: vocal quality. Vocal quality means not the voice. All of us have got voice that God has gifted us with. You can't change your voice. Can you be? Vocal quality doesn't mean the voice. It's how well you actually use your voice. Vocal variety, vocal, like I said, throw of the sound, articulation, enunciation. So the words, the end of the words, sometimes because the audience is far away, even the clip-on mic, the last syllables are lost. You know, like when you say distinguished Toastmasters and welcome guests. So it is guests, and the audience should get it as guests. You know, the S. So the articulation is very important. And then when you speak, you have to speak. If you go and speak like a boring lecture, good evening, Toastmasters, I'm here to speak today to you, and then blah, 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 blah. Without any passion. The passion has to come in the words, in the face, the voice, in the demeanor. That's the window to authenticity. So how you speak is, and what you show your face, and how you emote those words into your face and expression and voice and body, all this together and comes across as a beautiful symphony. That's when it becomes a winning speech. So passion is required when you speak to your audience. That passion is something which you need to demonstrate every time in conversations, in speeches. When you stand on the stage, you should show that you're a passionate human being, and passion actually helps you to win. Staging. Don't get chained to one place. You know, there is marks for body movement as well. I know that people think that, you know, why do we have to walk? But why do we have to move across the stage? This is about Toastmasters training, and Toastmasters judging criteria has marks for movement. So, like I said, again, I'm repeating myself by the word thing. I said, I live in a small little house just tucked away amidst the green mountains on one side and the blue seas on the other. And saying so, I walked to the right of the stage. And nobody realized that I walked to the right of the stage. And then from there, I say, a quick walk from my home would take me to the bus stop, and I walk all the way across the stage to the left side and keep the bus stop there. So I got the marks for stage movement straight away. So the purposeful body language or movements have to be incorporated into the idea of the speech. That's when the movement becomes purposeful. Otherwise, it becomes like you start moving like a ping pong ball up and down, orchestrated. It doesn't make any sense. Or if you change yourself to one place, it doesn't make it is intermediate speakers meander. Great speakers move in three-dimensional space. You know, so that's what I'm trying to say. You have to move in three-dimensional space, but the speech has to be crafted in such a way that the purpose, the movement has to be purposeful, has to be having a meaning, has to add value to what you're saying. You know, so that's how it's about it. And props, you can use props if you like. If you think your props is going to add value to your speech, if you think that the prop is going to help you to kind of deliver the idea or concept to the audience better, please do. Because there is no specific marks for props, but if props add value, fine. But in my case, I don't add any props because I feel that anything else on the stage except me is a distraction for me, and I want to be the hero of the stage. I don't want the prop to come and be challenging me on the stage. That's what I do. I don't do. But there are speakers like Toastmaster Manjusha. She brought chairs and she brought this thing. She was extremely effective with that, which is fine. If you can pull it off with the props, and the props can be used effectively, you can do it. There's no problem. You know, so that's how you just said body language and communication is very important. In communication, is like, as I have said, 7% is only words. You know, 55% is body language and eye contact. 38% is vocal variety and voice. Like if you say simple things, you know, if you say the same word, like you know, last time some of you might remember the speech of world champion of public speaking, Mohammad Katani. He said the child was writing on the wall. He said, hey, hey, hey. And the guy just looked at him and kept writing. But he didn't like it. You see, even if you all of us have kids, if your kid is carrying having a chocolate in his hand, if you go to him sweetly and kneel down beside front of him and say, "Beta, will you please give me the chocolate, Papa? Please, can you give me the chocolate?" He will give you. Usually, he'll give you, right? If you say, "Give me the chocolate," he'll look at you. If you say, "Give me the chocolate," he say, "No," right? So you can't. The same thing. Give me the chocolate. Give me the chocolate. Please, can you give me? Or give me the chocolate. Or give me the chocolate. You can say it in different ways. It will not. It'll. The impact is completely different. The way you say it, and the voice. 38% of it is voice. So it's the same word you can use. You can say it in different ways using voice and body language. And each time you say something, the body language has to complement the word. You can say, please give me the chocolate. And you say, please give me the chocolate. If you ask them, please, it has to complement. Or if you say, I lived in a small house. The words are very nice, small, but the action is showing big. So it doesn't make sense. So it has to be together. That's why I said it's like a symphony. So please understand that 7% only communication is on words, 55% is on body language. Eye contact, it's something like, it's a human psychological thing. When I look at you, one person, everybody looks at me. When I look down, everybody tends to look down. This is a human tendency. So in a Toastmasters, especially in the contest, you have to maintain eye contact at all times unless the speech specifically requires you to move away from the audience. Like in that speech which I delivered in the division, I said, and when I went to wash, I saw my mom stand and stare at the wall. Mama, you want to wash? When I said stand and stare at the wall, I can't stare at the eyes of an audience, can I? I have to go and stare at the side of the wall. I have to remove my eye contact. And that's well understood. So unless the script of the speech requires you to move away from the eyesight or eye contact of the audience, you should not. You should have to have eye contact with somebody or the other, and if possible, pan the audience and look at people. And sometimes many would agree, you draw strength from your audience. When you look at your audience, when they're empathetic, when they're understanding, it gives you more energy to speak better. My wife used to always tell me, you deliver the speeches much better on the stage than at home. Because I'm speaking to only my wife or only to nobody. When the audience is there, when they're responding to you, they respond. They always try to help you. The audience are responsive to what you say. So it's very important that you communicate through your body and through your face and through your expression, through your hands and gestures, and also words. Then it becomes a very successful speech. Right? Now, I want to just conclude with this last few words. Is crystallize your thoughts, galvanize your message, and mobilize your audience. I'm going to go into some other. This is essentially how to to deliver a speech. You have to end it with impact, and always end with the high note. You always have to bring the audience together, mobilize your audience, so that all of them, 300 or 600 or 1,000, who are them, all are with you. All are galvanized together to your message, and you mobilize them into your ideas or thoughts or action, or whatever you want them to do, or whatever you want them to understand. So that's about the basic premise or fundamentals the principles on which the speech should be crafted thoughtfully and delivered using all these means that you have. When somebody was speaking about recently Mohanlal won the Dadasaheb Phalke Award. He says even his fingers speak. When he plays, when he does, his fingers speak, his eyes speak, his face speak. That's how it is. Everything should speak. It's a performance. It's not just a speech. It's not just standing on the stage and behind the desk at the lectern and just speaking. It's about living the speech, living the idea, living the concept, living the emotion, and transmitting those emotions just like you wanted to, just as you are feeling, just as you are perceiving. just as how you want the audience to perceive, to the audience, straight across to the hearts and minds of the audience. That's how a speech should be crafted and delivered. Now, there are often dilemmas which I say, should I have a written script? I believe, and we should have a written script, because you can't use similes, metaphors, and triads without preparation. And I believe that you have to craft a speech. And for me, I don't deliver international speech contests without speaking. Not that we cannot. I'm sure many of you can. In fact, one of the speeches which took me to the district level was on one of the Toastmasters meeting. We had 3 or 4 speakers, and the last speaker did not come. And the Toastmasters day, he challenged us from the audience and said that, can anybody from the audience come and deliver a 7 minutes impromptu speech? And I was an evaluator that day. So I did not put up my hand. Nobody in the audience stood up. So he asked me, Suresh, can you? I said, I'm an evaluator. He said, it's okay, come. I delivered a speech that day. I delivered impromptu. And I happened to win the best speaker. That's fine. That's not a consequence. But that concept, I translated into a speech for international speech contest. It took me all the way to the district. So we can speak, but the same speech which I gave impromptu and the same speech which I delivered on the same concept, on the same subject, same emotion, same problem, when it came to the district was completely different, because I used all these techniques which I said, similes, metaphors, triads and stuff. So it is important to have a written speech, because most of us can speak 7 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour without a script. But in 7 minutes to craft a speech to win a contest and take you to the division or district or even beyond, you have to craft it. That's my humble opinion. Should I by heart the speech? Not necessary. You can, if you read it 100 times, it's your own emotion. It will come. You don't have to by heart it. What if I forget my lines, which sometimes we do? But when you forget your lines, and especially if the lines are not yours, if the lines are borrowed or the lines are complicated, you have a tendency to forget. But because the speech is your experience, if it's your experience and your ideas, you will have a substitute idea coming up immediately. For example, when in the icebreaker speech, when I was my icebreaker speech, I went to my mentor and I gave him the speech, and he made many changes, and he said the ending should be more powerful. And because I was a new Toastmaster, I was afraid of not making any changes than what my mentor suggested. I prepared the speech. I by-hearted the speech. Though it was my icebreaker, I by-hearted it and went to the stage. And the closing was my theme, or my subject, my title was challenges. I was talking about various challenges I faced since my birth. And then the line he wrote for me was, friends and fellow Toastmasters, there is no challenge that is more challenging than the challenge to challenge oneself. And I take the challenge today in Arabian Toastmasters Club. And when I went to the stage, all I remembered is there are many challenges, and I didn't know what the challenge was. And then I made it up. I said, friends and fellow Toastmasters, what is life without challenge? It's like a Pepsi without gas. People laughed. But you have to improvise. What do we do? What do we do if we can't speak on a table topic? You speak on what you know or what you understand of the topic, right? That's what you should do. Is it overly dramatic? Yes, you should look at it. If it's overly dramatic, scale it down. And if it is, if it is my stage movement justified, it has to be justified. Otherwise, it loses its sheen. So it has to be meaningful. So these are dilemmas. Like I said, props again. Props, if you can't pull off the props, think about it. Placement of the props can be a challenge. Sometimes it could be distracting. Example, I tell you, once I took a prop. So I was talking about how I struggled, and when I first got my job, and I was so happy and proud to join the same refinery that my father worked. And I was saying that the day I walked into the refinery with my helmet and the company ID, was one of the proudest moments or greatest moments in my life. So I kept a helmet as a prop. So before the contest, I'd given the helmet to one of the sergeant at arms in a cover. So I didn't want the audience to see, everybody to see the helmet. What this sergeant at arms did, he pushed while he was holding it, he pushed the cover into the helmet. And when I took and wore the helmet, the you know, the end, the part which is grips the head, it was not coming out. So I had to pull that stage. I lost a couple of few seconds, but then distraction, and you know. So from then, if it doesn't work, as per plan, it can be a disaster. You know, so I could not, at the division level, I stood third place, something like. I did not win that contest. So if the props cannot be added, cannot be done properly, please don't use it. There are Toastmaster speeches who you've seen some international speeches. They brought a big life-size model of a horse, a big ladder, or whatever you can bring. But if you're able to pull it off well, this is some of the dilemmas I wanted to share, which I felt that I'm sure you'll have some more questions in your dilemmas. So points to ponder. There's no question of being disappointing, because I've participated, maybe, I don't know, in the last 20 years, 23 years, maybe 18 or 15 times. I have been in the district final only 4 times. So it takes things worth achieving. It takes time. I've not been a district champion, and I'm probably not going to be, because I'm not keen on contesting nowadays now, because the whole team is not there. And sometimes we think that, you know, nobody is there to mentor me, and and honestly, I'm being a little bit, maybe I'm making a little bit controversial statement. You have reached a stage where you're outgrown your mentor. It happens. It happens. The mentor has got more longer longevity or longer time in the club or in the Toastmasters, but you do more and more speeches and more contests, and you sometimes outgrow your mentor. No, there's no harm in reaching out to people, or your mentor is not available, or mentor is not there. I say, when the student is ready, teacher will appear. So it depends on how intense your desire is to participate and win. You will reach out and you will get help. For example, Mohammad Katani, I was one of the mentors for Mohammad Katani. He had 8 of us, 6 of us, 8 of us as his mentors, because we were from different areas. Different areas means different areas of the Eastern Province. So, you know, and it takes all. It is one. We joined Toastmasters because we want to learn something which we could not do alone. So why should we think about doing the speeches by ourselves alone? We can't do it alone. We can't. We need some support. We need mentors. We need help. That's where, if you can all become champion speakers, why didn't you join Toastmasters? You can do it at home, right? So you have to take mentor support. Build upon success. Each success. Once you win, celebrate your success. Club level you won, area you won, division you didn't win. It's fine. Look at how you can do it. You know, when I was in the club, we had a very close-knit club, like we had Goa Toastmasters Club. One of my friends, TTM Vasudhar, and I, and a couple of other friends, we used to practice our speeches those days in my house. And the day before the club meeting, the contest also, we are correcting each other, telling them how to demonstrate to each other. And then when we go there, we are in competition. You know, it doesn't matter. I used to be very cool, because I believe that if you can present your best, you're a winner. But if Toastmaster Manjusha's best is better than my best, she will win. So I should strive to make my best as good as her best or better than her best. So you should be satisfied if you have been able to deliver your best, because then your today's best can be the platform on which you make the better best tomorrow. That's how you build upon success. There's no room. I am not trying to say that there's no disappointment. It is disappointing when you don't win, but you should be resolute to come back, because it should be part of the continual process of learning. That's how you learn. Don't be discouraged by setbacks. Setbacks is part of Toastmasters. Otherwise, I would not have been sustaining as Toastmaster from 2002 to 2025. 23 years. Many heartaches, many going up to the district and not making it. And then you feel that somebody undeserving won, some things, there was some bias, something. It's all part of the game. But did it help you to become a better version of you? Because Manjusha will agree with me that it's exhilarating to win a trophy. But 2 years down the line, the trophy is in your cupboard catching dust. It has no meaning at all. So, you know, in fact, when I came from Saudi Arabia, a cupboard full of trophies, I gave it away to all the clubs. You know, because my mentor told me one day, when everybody thought I would win, I did not win. He told me, Suresh, the real trophy lies intangible in the hearts of your audience. and not in tangible trophies. So don't be discouraged if you set back. You have set out on a goal to give your message and become a better version of yourself, and stay steadfast to that thing. Not all things work for everyone. You see what did not work, improve and try to change it and do better. Sometimes you can never get to what everyone wants you to do. You cannot, because that's what you're not a whole. You're not a complete human. I mean, nobody is complete. Nobody is perfect. So you try to do what best you can and celebrate your victories, because every victory is worth celebration. Celebrating, and it's to one more step towards making a better version of yourself. Now that's about the presentation, and I'll go for the Q&A.
Okay, thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Suresh, for that truly insightful and engaging session. So, being an English teacher, I could connect it with so well. So, you have taken us behind the curtain of what makes an impactful speech, from selecting the right story to presenting it with authenticity and flair. These invaluable takeaways will certainly guide us as we prepare our future speeches. Now, I'm sure our audience has plenty of thoughts swirling around, maybe a spark of curiosity, a question, or even an aha moment worth sharing. So, to lead the question and answer session, we have with us an inspiring Toastmasters whose journey is nothing short of extraordinary. A survivor and a living example of strength and positivity. She is She is the immediate past Area 32 Director, Vice President Education of both Life Skills Advocate Toastmasters and Alco Hindi Toastmasters Club, and also serves as the Secretary for ABBA Ladies Toastmasters Club and Foundation Toastmasters Club. Her dedication and excellence have earned her several accolades: the Samaritan Toastmasters Award, Adroit Toastmaster Award, Exuberant Toastmaster Award, and the prestigious Outstanding Area Director Award. She lives by the beautiful philosophy: be a friend to everyone, be an enemy to none. So let's welcome the ever inspiring and dynamic DTM Leena Nair to lead the question and answer session. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lali. First of all, I want to express my deepest gratitude to our module presenter, DTM Suresh sir. It was an enlightening and enlightening session. Thank you so much. I believe a person who poses questions is the one who learns, who is eager to learn. And a person who is posing questions is an attentive listener too. So I'm very happy to have received many questions here. And sir, I'd like to read them one by one. Toastmaster Namrata has put this question. When crafting a speech around a story, how should we divide it or structure it? For example, in terms where we have started with the story, the transition and the takeaway message, how do we do that?
As I understand, is how to sequence, how to put the story in sequence. That's what DTM Namrata is asking. I understand. So, what is, if you want to start? If somebody asks you, can you describe your home or deliver a speech on your home? Would you start from the kitchen? You wouldn't, right? So you would start from my house opens up from a beautiful portico, porch, and then you come to the hall, and that's how you start. So you have to sequence it from the beginning to, I mean, in such a way. It could be chronological, it could be spatial, it could be whatever you want, the way you want it to. But if you want to speak something about your experience, you don't have to start from your birth, right? You won't start from, it's not an icebreaker. You can start by saying what the problem is or what the issue is, and then come to the issue and slowly bring it up to the conclusion. So you have to very, very well, and the transitions, it has to be like a story. It should not be like the transition from one idea to the other. When you move from one part of the story to the other, it should be seamlessly integrated together by words. So it should not, the transition should not be felt by the audience. It should be like a complete story till the end. That's how it should be crafted. It should not. It's not like one idea, then transition. That's good. That you could do it in humorous speech. One idea to transition to another idea, then another idea to crack humor. That's good. But international speech is like one whole story from beginning to end. Start long ago, once upon a time, or whatever you want to say, and then without actually saying once upon a time. This is all cliche. But I'm saying in the similar fashion you say it and then bring it to the end. It has to be one story integrated together seamlessly. Yeah. I hope I'm clear, Namrata.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. The next question comes from Toastmaster Vijayalata Velluri. She says, we always talk about transition. How to make the transition, or when is the right time to make the transition in a speech? It's quite
I thought I answered this in the same in the first answer itself as a question. The transition should not be obvious in an international speech. It has to be a seamless transition. It's like a complete story. It's not
Yes.
like reading a book by chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. It's like one story. It's
Yes.
like a short story. Yeah. Next. Leena, anything else?
I think her connection is a problem. Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says how important it is to be vulnerable in the speech.
No, it is absolutely okay to be vulnerable because we are human beings and we are very vulnerable. And there's no shame in saying that you're vulnerable, or there's no shame in saying that you were in a situation where you were really vulnerable. Because and then how you overcame that vulnerability, and you not succumb to the vulnerability is what it's about. It is nothing. There's no shame to be shown as vulnerable or weak at some moment, because all of us are vulnerable and weak at some point in our life.
Right. Thank you. Toastmaster Lali says, what matters more in a speech? The story you tell or the way you tell it?
The story is very important, and the way you tell it is only the way you tell it is going to. The story is the most important part of it. The story, but how you tell the story is actually determines how the story is assimilated by audience. So I would rate it as 60% is craft, 40% is delivery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So there's one more question from her. To what extent do idioms, phrases, and other figures of speech enhance the effectiveness of the speech? As you have mentioned, similes, metaphors, alliterations, etc.
I'm afraid to speak to Madam Lali because she said she's an English teacher and I am not. I'm an engineer, but I love the language as much as the English teacher does. So to make it effective, there is speech. If you go to the judging criteria, there is speech value. For speech value, all this comes as part of speech value for judging in terms of the contest. But in terms of actually driving the message across to connect with the audience, the hearts of the audience, if I say that my father, who was once the most respected person, lost all his reputation, it would not be, if I had said that, instead of saying that my father, who was once the most respected person in the society, stood vulnerable, victimized, and vanquished in the public eye. The triad made it more very, very deep and emotional and connected. That's how it's used. While it's important, the language is important for speechcraft as part of the marking, but I would rate it more important for connecting with the audience and driving the message more effectively. So similes, metaphors, and alliterations are something which we can use. Again, it is not easy. Maybe for Lali, it's easy because she's an English teacher, but for others, it's not. For me, it's not. I think a lot, and finally, before I can get it. And these triads and similes and metaphors are not available. You can just get it from somewhere. It has to be a part of your speech. So just be very thoughtfully. That's why I said I have my speech copy in my car, in my office, by my bedside, sometimes in the washroom. Sometimes in the middle of the night, 2:00, I get up and get some idea and then incorporate that into speech. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like it takes a lot of efforts and passion to be able to get into speech. So that's how I'm trying to say. Maybe some people make it very easy for them, but for me it's not. So it has to be thoughtfully done. Every time you have to think about, and there are That's why I said, because nowadays I've lost the steam. Why I said that? Because the heartache of not being able to get to where you are, like it takes me sometimes 2 or 3 months to overcome. You know, it's not easy. It takes away a lot of my family time. It affects my everything. So that's because when you do it with passion, it is important that you do it. So it is not easy. Something you have to commit yourself to do. Yeah.
100% agree. That's so true, sir.
Yeah.
I have one more question. That is from Toastmaster Atul Hardas. He says, how many stories are required in a speech? In a speech, how many stories do we need to incorporate?
Like I said, no, if you can incorporate 1 or 2 stories. If you put too many stories, you will start becoming wider. Many stories and the message essence get lost. So for me, I use only 1 story. And I'll tell you also like to qualify that. There are many approaches. Sometimes you bring the problem straight away in the front, and then you tell what the problem is and how you go and solve the problem. But I don't know, it's my habit. And what I do is I leave the audience thinking, what am I trying to say? I talk to my mother and this and that. Then I slowly, only in the middle of the speech, only after maybe 3 minutes, that the actual problem came, that my mother was suffering from dementia and stuff. So I keep them thinking what you're trying to get at, and finally bring the message out. That's my style. It could be you could bring the problem straight away first in the beginning and then bring the resolution. There are many ways of doing it. So one of the, maybe you see, if you go and visit the international speeches, there are many approaches, but at the same time, there's no fixed formula. Like I said, people are sometimes saying, why didn't have call for action? Not necessary. In fact, when I said my speech that on my mother's dementia, while I said we should enjoy this, it was sum of life. I said there will be no more sunrises. People, you'll at one day you'll go away from this world. But what you leave behind is the legacy, is how people feel and think about you. That's the sum of life. And then I said in the end, I used a negative emotion in the end. I said, who knows, a day may come when I would stare at the face of my son, wondering, who is he? That was the story. And while most of the audience left spellbound by that statement, there were 3 or 4 guys who said, why did you make that negative statement, Suresh? Your speech value came down. Because they fixed the idea. They have fixed idea that it should be uplifting. It should be what do you call that? Call for action. There was no call for action. I said, that's the fact of life. Who knows? The day may come. Because my mother suddenly, she just forgot about me. Forgot everybody. She couldn't remember any of us. So I said, so there's no point in cribbing about it. Life has to move on. You have to, what you do today is more important than what you want to do. It sometimes hankering after wealth and fame and money, and makes no sense. Because who knows, a day may come when you stare at the face of your son and wonder who you are, who he is. That's what my message was. So it's a different way of doing it. So there's no fixed formula. Atul, you can add 1 story or 2 stories, but my opinion is not add too many stories to kind of complicate.
I think these are the only questions I have received, but one last question from my side, sir. Like in a speech contest, how do you select the topic? Now, for example, in my case, I have many ideas to talk about, many topics that I can give a speech on. So which topic should I choose among these? That is a big question I face every year.
Yeah, that's a question that I also face now, I have to admit. Sometimes, you get a writer's block. Sometimes you don't get any ideas. Sometimes you have too many ideas.
Yes.
So you have to see. Sometimes I craft 3 or 4 speeches and then select from them. So you have to look at which is the audience, which is the speech that is the story which is very close to your heart. You can probably look at that, and which you think which the story worth telling, which the audience will carry forward. Something like you should look at. And if you personally want me to support you on that, we can discuss it on your dilemma.
Okay. So I think these are the only questions I have received. And thank you once again so much, sir, for being such a great teacher for all of us. And with this, I'll give the screen back to our MOC, Toastmaster Lally.
I'm actually conscious of the fact that I'm speaking into an audience who are English teachers, who are champion speakers, who are district leaders. So I hope I have been able to live up to my your expectations, because I was passionate about speaking. I did not follow the leadership track and did not look for positions and titles. So I tried my best. I hope it's been effective.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Leena, for steering such an engaging discussion. And once again, heartfelt thanks to distinguished Toastmaster Suresh Kumar for answering all the queries. Now it's time to express our appreciation. Every sessions like this comes alive because of the efforts of so many hands and hearts working together. So, our vote of thanks this evening will be delivered by a multifaceted professional with an impressive academic and professional background. He is a chartered accountant, company secretary, and holds an MCOM and MPhil in financial planning. In addition, he is PMP, ITIL, and CISA certified from the US, truly a lifelong learner. Professionally, he serves as the manager business support in the information technology department at Qatar Navigation. So within Toastmasters, he has had several distinguished leadership roles, past area one director, past president of CA Toastmasters, and even past area level humorous speech champion. Originally from Sambalpur, Odisha, he is happily married and finds joy in teaching, traveling, and making new friends. To deliver the vote of thanks and acknowledge everyone who made this evening possible, please join me in welcoming Toastmaster Muhammad Fahim.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lali, for the wonderful introduction. And this is, I can say, this is one of the reasons why we joined Toastmasters, so that we can listen so much good about us. So it is, in fact, a distinct honor to deliver the vote of thanks for this truly igniting session, Ignite Brilliance. Our deepest thanks to our phenomenal speaker, DTM Suresh Kumar, for sharing his wisdom and expertise. I personally was so inspired that in the beginning, I was wearing a t-shirt and starting off the meeting. When you said that attire is important, I put up my blazer and came back for the vote of thanks. I would like to thank the whole of the organizing committee, our dad, Nivedita, TLI chair, Namrata, who invited me to be to give this vote of thanks. Master of Ceremony Lali wonderfully carried the session from the beginning till the end with beautiful, vivid words. Our moderator and our timer, all of the speaker, you made this session a super successful. But the most important among us, and which we are also, are the participants or the audience who joined this meeting, who had, without them, no event can become so much successful, asking a lot of qualitative questions, which actually answered many of my questions as well. So let's carry the inspiration of igniting this brilliance by taking one step ahead and making sure that we start writing our international speech from now. We know DTM Suresh would be available, and he is always approachable to us to guide us if we are starting writing any speech. And personally, why that is more relevant, which I consider, is that whenever I go as judge or sometime or I attend any meeting and looking forward for any international speech, I have some expectation to take some message or take a lot of message and learning back home. So you provide, and that's one of the value we add being a Toastmaster to others' life. So carry on this ignite inside you, and wish you all a wonderful evening, and start thinking about the topic you'll be choosing from tonight, so that in a couple of days you will be coming up with a topic to prepare ahead. Thank you so much for everything, and have a wonderful evening.
Okay, thank you,
Back to
Toastmaster. Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Muhammad Fahim, for those warm words. So to bring this wonderful evening to a close, I now invite our Division A Director, Toastmaster Nivedita Ketkar, for her closing remarks and to adjourn the session.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lali, our MC for today. Let me just state once, there were so many takeaways today, but out of that, one line which really has caught up with me, which says, speech is like a beautifully choreographed symphony, and it is about living the speech. I think these lines can sum up everything. So every aspect of the international speech crafting and delivery can be summed up in this beautifully choreographed symphony. So this will always stay with me. Let me, on behalf of Division A and all the attendees, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our trainer, TTM Suresh Kumar. Thank you, sir. It was an absolute insightful session. So much of information, so much to think, and I think we are all motivated to start drafting and writing our own speeches. I'm sure we all have learned so many aspects of speech crafting as well as delivery. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your time with us. Thank you. A sincere thank you. As a token of gratitude, I would like to share a certificate from all of us. Let me just share that.
Thank you very much, the Division Director. Thank you very much. Again, I have to just say that whatever I said is completely based on my personal experience, and it's not part of any manual or anything. It's something which I wrote or crafted based on my experience. And I will not claim that it's a winning formula. I'm not claiming that this will help you to become, because I've never been a district champion myself. So I hope that it is based on many contests, many failures, and many things that which brought me. And I'm sure that I don't want to. I mean, I don't want others to kind of fall into pitfalls that I've had in my long years. So to avoid those pitfalls and what can be actually done is what I've said. And all of you have individuals with your own rights and your own thinking. So best wisdom will bring you the best results. So let's see how it goes. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Because I know every experience from our seniors that teaches us a lot. So as you rightly said, we will try to learn from those things which you have already seen, and we would improve our journey, or it will make our journey a little simple to explore. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And now also a round of applause for our TLI chair, Namrata, for facilitating this entire training. Thank you so much, Namrata, for all the efforts that you have taken to make this training happen. Thank you. And I'm also very proud of all the role players who have done an amazing job today, because every meeting, everything arranged here, it cannot be done without the support of the role players. Any one person cannot make this session happen. So thank you so much, role players. Please continue to, attend meetings and also participate. That is how we all learn. And last and not the least, to all the members or fellow Toastmasters who attended the session today, I hope you have a lot of things to take away from today's session. So with this, let's see, we will all try our best to rock at the DTAC stage very soon. My best wishes to all of you. And with that, let me declare that Ignite Brilliance Session 3 is adjourned.
Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you, sir. I will just stop the recording and then you can.